soon as Skeletor started rising, it was not even close. I won like once, like as in one map out of like 20 against Skeletor. So yeah.
Okay. Well, as you continuously dash my setup here to be like, well, there's no one I would rather be here with than you, Kat. Thanks for letting me get that compliment out and not completely destroying it at every turn.
I'm sorry.
We're going to be starting this best of 5 series here in the lower bracket, an elimination match here in the playoffs. Down in the bottom right-hand side of the map, we have the red Zerg player. He goes by the wonderful name of Erik. Oh my god, I feel like I'm in the intro of an 80s romantic comedy movie where they're doing like this nice soundtrack building up, everyone's running around the city, setting up the positive vibes. Oh, that was great.
Like Friends type thing?
Yeah, I guess kind of like Friends. Yeah, like the romantic comedy thing.
All right, and then the top left-hand side, it is from Team Exxon, Cham. That's the same one, right?
Well, it's different, right? That was very different.
Oh, okay.
That one, I feel like I'm, Maynard's about to like come on stream. I'm gonna see a video of him from like 12 years ago, and it's gonna be him with dreads but longer. It turns out he's actually used to have longer dreads, and he's rocking the guitar. His hair is dyed red. Yeah.
Wait, he used to have longer dreads?
In my headcanon, he did.
Oh, nice.
No, okay. Fun. I don't know if Maynard has ever issued this challenge publicly, and he's a very private person, so I'm going to completely disregard his privacy. So he, at one point, did tell me that, of course, he actually used to be in a band. This part's not a secret. But he told me somewhere out there on the YouTubes, there is a video of Maynard still up where he is singing in his old band.
No way.
And he said, if you could find it, like, all right, good on you. I'll let you know that it exists, but you're never gonna find it. So I'm gonna crowdsource this to the entirety of the StarCraft community, guys. Let's find that video.
Yeah, the way to do this is you don't give Maynard a heads up. You just ask him, wow, you were really in a band, like if you're Twitch chat. And then you try to get the name of his band out. Then by name of his band, I think we stand the best chance, right?
Yeah, I think he's probably too cautious about that, so yeah. All right, guys, we are going to be moving into this game. We actually do finally have a little deviations coming up over here, just tiny ones with the Bailey Nest getting started up there for Cham. And I think that we just have, fast +1 carapace coming out over here for Erik. So that's where that extra, or that first bit of gas is going to come from, Erik.
Yes, indeed. I'm sorry, I was communicating with
no worries.
for a second.
Plus...
Go on, Robbie, go on.
Okay, well, I was just going to say +1 carapace is coming on up, but it's also a Roach Warren forming the walls. So it seems like Erik wants to bypass some of the Baneling plays for a bit.
Yeah, Cham's gonna get a good scout, it looks like, for the time being, so that's nice. And you're right, yeah, Erik's this is a cool map to choose to do this on, because that ramp or that choke is actually smaller than on almost every other map, where you can just use the 2 buildings to wall it off. So it's really nice. Like, Erik's that type of player that will look for little edges and kind of play to the map in smaller ways. And I do appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Cham is going to be flooding out a decent number of lanes, and the fact that he's still making more lanes and making a couple of these banelings does read to me like he really wants to do some big damage over here, or if he wants to get a cancel on that third base like that. Those would be really ideal moves for him. But with Zergling speed now finished up over here for Erik, this kind of gets dangerous, right? The banelings are going to be pretty tough to deal with.
Yeah, the banelings are the biggest issue, especially while he doesn't have that link speed finished. Now the links are being cornered up and all the banelings blow on top of them. This looks pretty over to me. The banelings not even choosing to detonate onto multiple drones because they feel like as long as they zone out the Zerglings, that'll be good enough. And it's maybe true, but now with roaches popping up, they do detonate onto a clump of drones. And yeah, it's just a formality at this point. It looks like Cham has this one.
Yeah, +1 carapace finishes up, but there is a single roach, maybe 2 roaches left alive to enjoy it now, as finally Cham retreats back. But Cham at the very beginning, before the first set of Zerglings even ran in, before the Banelings moved forward and got a single kill, had already started up his lair. He had his transition in mind, following this up immediately, and he has a Spire on the way. After doing that much economic damage, and still potentially going to do a little bit more over here, Cham is looking to be in a situation where he's going to end the game before his kill move.
Yeah, exactly that. Exactly that, Ravi. He's gonna end the game while he still has part of his plan. And look, he looks unfazed. He looks like, was that it? You know?
He's like, wow. All right, well, I mean, I had dinner plans, but they're not for another hour and a half. Like, what am I gonna do with the time if I just 3-0 this guy this quickly? Wow, what a strong start there for Cham. Really, really great. And he was the one that, like, granted, Erik was doing something, like you were saying, trying to cut some corners, play a little bit greedier, and obviously that did come back to bite him a bit. But at the end of the day, like, Cham was the one that was setting the pace for all of that. That's not something that's, like, unrepeatable.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if Erik could have gotten maybe Roaches out a little bit earlier instead of Lynx. It seemed like he was committing so many resources to Lynx without speed. So it was just a terrible anti-timing for him and such a strong timing from Cham, because without speed, you can't even dodge the Banelings with the slow Lynx, right? It's so difficult even on creep. Whereas if you have speed, you can at least kind of go counterattack or cut reinforcements or do something a little bit better. So that's kind of sad, but Cham is going to take a very decisive game one.
Yeah. I'm also thinking about, like, previous ZVZs and stuff I've seen before where you have a player that gets hyper aggressive with Ling Bane versus a player that's just trying to, like, turtle up a little bit onto Roaches. They aren't really going for Zergling speed super early on. I almost remember, like, a lot of those times I feel like we end up seeing, like, a full wall or something coming out from the Zerg player that's on the defensive. Once they start to see just a flood of Lings come across the map. Do you think it may have also been like a scouting information thing where he just didn't recognize the attack was coming until it was too late?
It would be kind of weird if it was, because he was making so many links preemptively before his speed kicked in, and they were not timed for the speed. So I feel like he was making them reactively, like he had to have known that this was coming his way. So yeah, I'm not sure. You could definitely wall off, but then you're basically just losing your third for sure, which you know is pretty rough as well. So it's a difficult choice. I feel like what Erik has to adjust here is to just make sure that he has Roaches in time for that kind of attack, or something of the likes where he has at least enough links to prevent the Banelings from morphing, or gets his speed at least a little bit faster.
Yeah, no, I think that definitely makes sense. And as soon as I think we get you in the lobby over here, Cats, which I think you still just need to join the chat channel.
I am in the lobby. I am.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you are in the lobby. I just don't recognize your name.
I'm Dr. Dog.
Oh, okay. Isn't that a little on the nose? A guy named Cat says Dr. Dog. I like that.
It's a good band. Yeah.
No, it's a good meme.
Yeah,
it's a top meme.
It's gonna be Pillars of Gold, the next map, and that's a pretty exciting CVC map. It's a very wide open third, so it's the kind of map that from my perspective is very strong and very good for things like links and heavy link play. So I would love to see some upgraded links from one of these players at least.
Yeah, I feel like actually this map, for probably the reason you're talking about, I feel like I've seen a lot of like +1 melee openings and stuff, and just really, really powering out a lot of Ling play and even leading into later stages. But yeah, just the early Ling busts, like knocking down walls, I feel like is also really common on this map. So I would love to see something like that. And I think, even though I think a lot of people have the perception of ZVZ is like that European Roach versus Roach war a lot of the time, whenever I think of Latin American ZVZ, it does go to like Roach versus Roach, or go into the later stages of the game. It absolutely happens. But I feel like a vast majority of the ZVZs I see, it's like good old Ling versus Ling, or Bane versus Bane kind of micro. I feel like that is the heart of Latin American ZVZ to me.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of that. These players are very aggressive. I mean, you have Erik, you have Jim Rising. They are the type of player that really wants to get in your face and try something. And Cham is no stranger to that himself. So yeah, I absolutely agree with you. They are very aggressive Zerg players. And yeah, I think it's likely though that we see something like upgraded links into Muta, just because they transition so well into Muta, right? Since you're cutting the Roaches effectively. So Pillars of Gold is a perfect map for that. It is a very large map with a wide open third. Let's see if either player goes for it. Let's reload it.
Indeed. Currently with a best of 5, that does mean that this guy up here in the top right-hand side of the map is currently sitting up 1-0, 2 games away from moving on to the next round. It is going to be Team Exxon's Cham.
And his opponent do Brazil. It is the red Cirque player, Erik. Cheeky pull first.
Okay.
Not an early pull, however. So, yeah, don't mistake it for an early pull, my dudes. It's just going to be an early pull, well, a pull first, rather, into a hatchery, most likely. I'm not sure what he's looking from this. Maybe he's going to try to look for a queen snipe with, like, his first 6 circlings and try to run those around to where the Overlord doesn't spot him or something of the likes.
Okay, makes sense. I'm looking forward to seeing how exactly that's going to all end up playing on out. Still goes for the gas geyser and everything. It's pretty similarly timed with Cham, so we'll have roughly the same amount of gas to get up that Zergling speed upgrade and everything, assuming they put the same amount of workers into mining it as soon as possible. But yeah, those first 6 Zerglings, we'll see how much damage they can get done. So while we wait for that kind of to shape on up, you were talking about like these like heavy Ling sort of plays, or we were even talking about like the melee upgrade styles and everything. What are usually the first telltale signs of a player going for that kind of stuff?
Maybe the mining of the gas. It's, I mean, it's kind of just when they drop the Evo chamber, really, that it results clear, right? Like, unless they're doing something weird, like going for a Evo chamber and trying to time it so that you get the melee at the same time as the speed or something like that. I like doing stuff like that, but I almost never see it. So it's just kind of like after speed, when you have the 100 gas, you'll drop an Evo chamber, and you know, you probably don't end up mining too much more gas until you trickle into a lair and Mutalisks.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, well, Zergling speaking to get started up for both of these players as the Lings arrive over here. Just a few more for Erik, and you're talking about that queen snipe. Well, the queen is getting closer to popping, and it seems like Cham's trying to buy some time with these Lings.
I'm surprised. Erik should know that the queen is about to pop, right? So I think he should be looking for it down here. Instead, the queen is going to have a chance to tuck itself away. Still, Erik is going to find a decent surround, but no, repositioning some of those Zerglings will make it so that the queen will survive. That queen should have been dead, and that would have been a decent start for Erik. With that said, Cham is kind of just leaning in on this while Erik is trying to drone back up. Cham is making more circlings and has dropped a Baneling nest kind of hidden and tucked away in his own base. So look for aggression from the Mexicano.
Yeah, if Erik doesn't actually start making some Zerglings soon, he's going to be in a lot of trouble, because it is 15 Lings out right now for Cham, with the Baneling nest now finishing on up and still more Lings being made. As he moves across the map, that third base might be a little bit more vulnerable. You know, third base, that one location where the queens are not really going to be able to help protect you. You can't really get those queens over there very easily.
Yeah, and Erik was kind of gambling here a little bit because Cham has made so very many Zerglings. Erik was making a very late Baneling nest, and then he made a flood of Zerglings to where if Cham started a Ling flood now, he would have enough Lings to kind of deny this and fight for the Banelings Morphin. But Cham already made a lot of Zerglings preemptively, and he already has the Banelings, and this is just a terrible position for Erik to try and defend this third.
Yeah, not only losing so many Lings, but yeah, now going to end up having to cancel that hatchery. There's still more Lings arriving over here. And I want to note, Cham is actually only about 5 workers behind, so if he gets even a little bit of damage done over here, it's going to be great. Wow. I think he might be getting more than a little.
Yeah, that was beautiful movement on those Banelings, just getting out of range of both queens while the Lings surround them. Now there's Banelings out for Erik, but he has already taken too much damage here at 420. It is like looking like game over, Ravi.
Oh my god. The fact that he absorbs 2 Baneling hits with that one Baneling and finds all of the drones, softens them up so they get one shot by these Lings. Ladies and gentlemen, Cham, he has somewhere to be today, guys. He is in this to clean it up as fast as possible at this point.
Yeah, I mean, Erik, I'm not sure what he's looking for here, just kind of processing the loss at this point. It's more or less impossible to come back from this. And yeah, I mean, a little bit sad, right? Like he tried something kind of cool with the Lings. He does get across the map, though Cham did make 4 blind Lings, which is as much as most people will make. you know, so that's kind of nice for him. Erik still managed to pick one Ling off right away. I think if he doesn't commit into going for the main, where all of the drones are going to be and where the best defense for Cham is always going to be, and instead just attacks the natural base until the queen pops, gets us around and gets out, then he's in a fine position. But instead, he doesn't get the queen, and as a result, Cham just is able to make so many links with those larva injects, and he, you know, acknowledges that, gets the... Oh, no cancel. He's going to need a few hundred of those.
A few hundred of those.
Yeah, it's just not working out.
GG. Well played by Cham. That's a 2-0 lead for him in this best of 5, and now is going to be one game away from moving on to that lower bracket finals. Truly a great start here for Cham, and kind of unfortunate, like you were saying, for Erik, because I think you're right. There are some things that haven't quite gone exactly as he wanted. But I do think that he is just really not getting the better end of things here. Ladies and gentlemen, though, we are going to be going to our usual short break before we move into game number 3. Give Erik a bit of time to rethink how he wants to approach this series. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the DreamHack SC2 Masters. A bit of time to recuperate. We're going to see if it's been enough time for Erik to formulate a game plan here as we move into game number 3 of this best of 5, with Erik sitting down 0-2 right now, an elimination point for this playoff brackets. Cats, we're moving on. Jagannatha, do you have any thoughts on how you want to see if Erik approach this?
Not really. It's so difficult because I think what he tried to do in game one that you accurately pointed to is that he was trying to cut some corners, basically. Like, I think that's the right approach to be in the underdog. But the problem is Cham is such a good player that he will look for those stress points and really press on hard. So he won't allow you to cut corners. Maybe if you're Erik, from here on out, you play the defender, which is kind of weird as the underdog. Maybe you try to go for Muta and play kind of like your own game as if you were the better player, because Cham is already taking so many precautions.
Yeah, makes sense. It's definitely a tough spot to be in, regardless of whatever kind of approach you try and take. But this is going to be his chance to try and turn things around a little bit. See if he's capable of it as we move into Jagannatha for game number 3. I want to remind you guys that after this, we're also going to be moving into the winners bracket finals, which are between, I believe, Special and Kelazur. So lots more StarCraft head your way, including mirror matchups that are not just ZVZs. Go figure.
Go figure.
Go figure.
And in the bottom left-hand side of the map, 1 point away from winning, it is Exxon's Cham. Meow. Do you hear that meow? No. A little bit of a meow in the roof. No?
I heard you meow. I'm so confused what this meme is. All right, down here, or up here in the top right-hand side of the map, we have the red Zerg player. He is Erik, presenting Brazil and himself. I do feel like this is such an unfortunate showcasing of Erik's skill so far, because I actually think Erik is quite a good player. He really is one of those players that I'm like, you know what? I look at the Latin American scene, and I think, okay, there's Special, Cham, and Kelazur. Who could break into that echelon of those 3 players, right? Who could break in to that those top 3 standings? And Erik is actually the guy that I would look at and be like, I think he's capable of it. But man, I actually just feel like Cham is playing really, really well right now. So
yeah, absolutely. Tough. I think he's definitely closest to breaking in. And again, he has had spotlight performances, right? Where you think, whoa, who's this kid? So he really just has to bring it more consistently. And yeah, sometimes CVC can look, just kind of one-sided and can be very much on a knife's edge and just, one baneling or just not having speed or a wall off. It can just kill you very easily. So Erik needs to tighten his game up a little bit, last until those later stages, and then shine with units like Lurkers and Vipers that I think that he's much more adept with than in this early game at the moment.
Yeah, all right. Well, we'll get to see that chance because they both did manage to successfully get up natural expansion hatcheries at regular times. We got Zergling speed coming out over here for Cham. Still seeing a hold off over there for Erik because he's not quite got the gas for it just yet, but see if there's an opportunity for him to maybe cut another corner again if that's his plan. But no, just gonna go for that Zergling speed and play it out usual.
Yeah, which is in itself cutting a small corner. That means he got the gas a little bit later and mined a little bit more minerals, but it's almost negligible. He has to be prepared to be the defender though, and he has to anticipate that his opponent can have earlier link speed, so he can't really be out on the map easily because if you have the same numbers and your opponent or one less circling and your opponent has link speed, then it turns out ugly really quick.
Yeah. Ling finally gets cornered and picked off by those queens, so Erik can shut down a little bit of map information there. I think that, the Overlord has not technically seen the Baneling nest there for Erik, so nice little denial of some vision for a bit until the Overlord moves forward anyways. But I think the Overlord is a little bit more vulnerable to the Queen now picking it off, right?
Yeah, definitely. It could very well be a danger, and I'm surprised that Erik actually didn't go for it. Though he does know about the 6 links from Cham, and that is the reason why he pulled back the drone earlier as well. Now Erik not taking any chances, going straight away for 4 banelings. And while Cham is reinforcing, if Erik can just hold on here, he'll be in a decent position, but he does need to take a third quickly.
Yeah, our observer also showing us that there is a layer on the way there for Cham. So while he is absolutely committing a bit to this aggression, he is also thinking about a follow-up here tech-wise, even if it's going to be at the cost of some of the economy. He is droning up a bit now behind this, but you can tell the drones are coming out later. They're having less time to mine.
Yeah, I mean, this is just beautiful gameplay by Cham because he's kind of taking into account when all these Banelings could have detonated there. Oh, not necessary to go to Banelings on a drone, but you know, whatever. I think the cool thing about Cham's gameplay here is that he just kind of killed Erik with 2 similar attacks. So this time, like I was saying, Erik is super ready. He already has the Baneling Nest. He already has or morphs 4 Banelings instantly, and he chooses not to go out for his third, while Cham already has a third, is working on that lair, and already has a Spire on the way. So looking very good for him.
Yeah, nicely micro there by Erik, by the way. He keeps that drone alive against the multitude of attacks and attempts there from Cham to kill it off, and he's gonna be able to get that hatchery down, kills off the majority of the Lings, finally pushing all of this back. But like you said, Cham has been playing this really, really intelligently and already has that Spire halfway done, even got the Lings into the main base to get the full scout and see the timing of Erik's lair. Really, really nice spot for Cham.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about this game is like Erik is basically taking the approach that I thought maybe he should take, right? Like maybe now you play defender, but Cham is also anticipating in this game that is most likely the approach that he should be taking. so he gets away with murder basically, right? Like he has been taking up so hard, or so hard, and that is just nasty, Ravi.
Yeah, that's another kill on the hatchery again. He's even going to be able to find a couple of these queens over here. Gets us around on, well, the queen that looked like it was going to be able to get away. So every single queen actually ends up falling. The Banelings aren't even ready. Are you kidding me? Not again. Not again. Not like this.
Not like this. He's surely going to split out a couple of Zerglings into the main, as Zergs often do, to try and morph those into Banelings. But surely Erik has taken note of it. There's an Overlord, I think, that can see it as it happens, but he's not paying attention to these 2 Zerglings, as he just probably sent some units out to deal with them. 8 workers go down total, and more importantly, perhaps, Ravi, is the fact that he has made so much space for himself, Cham that is, to get those mutas out.
Yeah, hey, Katz, I'm going to ask you something. How many queens do you think there are on the map after all the queens died?
Oh my god, I don't want to click, but I see 2 in production. I had the production tab open already. Yeah. So I'm gonna say, and I see 1 on my face right now. I'm gonna say 1.
So when I started the sentence, there were 0. Then 2 popped. So now there are 2 queens out on the map right now. And these roaches are here to just basically buy time. But while the roaches move across the map, and apparently all of the Banelings go off on those Lings and do manage to get a clean up there to save that third. The mutas are gonna kill all of the roaches. And Cham should just have complete control of the map in this game.
Yeah, exactly. You might be wondering, why is he suiciding his roaches? Well, just because otherwise he's gonna take damage at his base. And you might be like, wait, well, why doesn't Cham just pull back or just attack him then if he's gonna do more damage, if that's what Erik wants, right? And it's basically like a move where you say, okay, if you ignore this roaches, I can do as much or more damage because roaches have decent damage output and mutas are like harassing mobile units. And so it forces Cham to pull back and kill the roaches, but that's just basically like tribute. Like it's like, don't kill me, my lord, you know?
Yeah. If it was like the equivalent of chess, it's like saying, I'm gonna use a sacrificial pawn or a sacrificial rook. Threaten your queen. Yeah, it's like, it's an easy pickings there, but at least you won't, checkmate me here.
Yeah, since we were talking about Cham as one of the kings of Latin America, it's more akin to sacrificing, I want to say, 4 goats.
4 goats. Yeah. As you do in a strategy game. I like that.
There's 2 workers. Yeah, I think you can sacrifice goats.
I know you can sacrifice goats. I'm saying, do I personally sacrifice goats?
No, I don't usually sacrifice goats. Ravi, I am not a fan of usually sacrificing goats for no reason, no.
Okay. How
about you?
You're not usually a fan of sacrificing. Kat, what is it with Okay, that is a great set of bailing hits there. And that doesn't even up the worker count yet. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, the third is still denied. That's 14 workers, but like you said, it's not even. And the muta player does have the economic lead, so while the game was much more or less over, now it's, just mostly
double
over,
worker,
I guess. Yeah.
Okay, the double lurker then, you're just... Wait, you can't get both lurker upgrades at the same time, though.
Nah.
Without a high...
No. This is just this is just a mistake, Ravi. Yeah.
Okay, he realized the other one was going. He canceled it, but that also does mean he has two. Oh no, sorry. Yeah.
Right.
I had a brain fart moment where I'm like, he had two Hydra Dens then, but yeah, we changed that a long time ago.
Yeah, it's been a little while for that one, but yeah, two Lurker Dens is still, you know, it really goes to show how.
Goats, you know.
Yeah, two Lurker Dens. I mean, the Lurkers are gonna hold nicely, and I love the approach that Erik has taken. He's basically saying, okay, you know, if this game lasts an hour, then maybe I have a shot. And what he's gotta do here is basically situate himself on 3 bases with the queens, with the spores, and just kind of drag things out. Whereas Cham is gonna have free reign to go out on the map. And I think that if you're Cham here, the best way to deal with this, Ravi, is to just mirror your opponent, but with a greater economy.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a really smart way to do it. And with the hive already getting started there for Cham, there's going to be a nice little window also, since the infestation pit is only just now starting for Erik, that if Cham decides to actually attack in with his own lurkers, he will potentially have the range advantage in a lurker versus lurker battle, as well as the ability to like burrow his lurkers faster. But that should just be a hard kill, right? That is going to completely prevent anything.
Yeah, and he's also going to have Vipers available, which is going to make it so that he can use Blinding Cloud offensively, or even, you know, pull some lurkers towards his army and get rid of them efficiently like that. So I really love everything that Cham is doing right now. I love that he didn't commit to Mutas. I love that he didn't like do the thing that I like doing, because it, you know, sometimes it fails where you kind of just commit and say, okay, I have the Ling upgrades maybe, so let's go Ultras or something of the sort. That kind of play can be a lot more dangerous. When you're this far ahead, just do the same thing, but better.
Yeah. A good piece of life advice for anyone. You know, if you're looking to get better at StarCraft or anything else, just do the same thing as someone else, but better. I like that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and Cham definitely has the option to do that, so I love that he's going that route. Like you were saying, he's ahead now in lurker upgrades officially. Erik is gonna try to catch up, and Erik is really hoping that there's, you know, a load of Roach Hydra ready to move into his lurkers, or even a lurk or an ultra transition, or that there was a mute overcommitment, right? He has like 3 spores here and there. Like, he's doing everything that he can to kind of bait a mistake from Cham. Cham's just not having any of that though.
Yeah. But Cats, more importantly, did you respond to the polling question on the stream asking if you've ever sacrificed a gold?
I did not.
Because it was a clear yes or no answer. Okay.
That's great.
Okay, apparently 56 of people have in fact sacrificed a goat though, so you know.
Impressive.
You're in good company.
What do you mean? I never admitted to sacrificing a goat, Ravi.
You didn't say
I did not technically admit. Listen, Ravi, I'm from Peru. Okay.
Okay.
But I'm not technically admitting to sacrificing goats. They do not sacrifice goats, okay?
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? All I'm gonna say is maybe we should keep Cyril away from you for a little bit. I'm not feeling comfortable with keeping him around you. Maybe we should have some bodyguards and Cats is trying to, you know, hang out with Cyril and not gonna go to lunch together by yourselves.
A little bit surprising that these Vipers came here. I think that Cham is just like, wow, I'm so far ahead, you know, just rallied over his Vipers. But he didn't really get the energy to do much with them, so it's going to be a little bit of a stallment for him. The Mutas are still doing whatever they can, and Erik has a lot of supply tied up to Queens, whereas Cham is just maxed on whatever he wants. It's a difficult one.
You see Parasitic Bomb coming out on top of the Mutas, but one of the Vipers ends up going down in exchange for 2 Mutas. And honestly, Erik is in such a tough economic position that that's a fine trade. I actually feel like you could trade 5 Mutas for each Viper, and Cham would be happy with it.
Oh, he would be. Yeah, he would be elated. It's just such a good. Any trade is a good trade right now. I mean, he's 2 bases up, not to mention maxed out. So. If you're killing something, then that's good enough in my book right now. He's going after this Hydra then.
Ooh, that's actually a cute move. While he also goes to the Blinding Clouds on these lurkers, starts yoinking them forward. Gets a few of his own yoinks, so this actually might draw things out of it, especially since Cham is actually in the minority in terms of lurker count. But you know what's actually really cool? I never realized this, but the lurkers, when they're on the offensive at the base, they can stay in the acceleration zones. They can have an extra quick retreat if need be.
Oh, that is pretty cool indeed. But yeah, it looks like, I mean, Erik has stabilized on 3 base, but you know, he's just 100 supply down more or less. So what do you do from here, Ravi? It's just like he's gonna try to take 1 base at a time and kind of defend each base with his life. It is a little bit harder to attack than defend, and Erik did do great to get like a lot of Vipers, which is the units that are gonna allow him to trade effectively. The problem for Erik is that Cham can really trade inefficiently, like you were pointing out to, and still get away with it.
Yeah, I would have loved some Blind Clouds that have come out earlier there for Erik if he really wants to try and hold on to that position, but he's going to lose all of the lurkers and the game. Cham takes a 3-0